The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Quellen of the Sarah T delivered the dire news. Their homeworld, Sareth Prime, was dying. A rogue asteroid, massive, unpredictable, and traveling at relativistic speeds, would impact their planet in 14 standard cycles. Evacuation was impossible. The Sarah T had barely achieved spaceflight, and their fragile biology couldn't survive extended space travel. "We beg the Council for aid," Quellen's translator whispered, her crystalline form trembling. "We need ships. We need time. We need hope." The VRWNN delegate spoke first, his reptilian face impassive. "The VRWNN Confederacy sympathizes, but our resources are committed elsewhere. We cannot help." One by one, the great civilizations of the galaxy declined. The Korthax cited economic constraints. The Zelthrani invoked non-interference protocols. The Hive Collective simply stated that the expenditure of resources didn't match projected returns. Each refusal was delivered with diplomatic courtesy and bureaucratic efficiency. Only the human delegation remained silent. Captain Marcus Webb of the Terran Alliance watched the Sarah T ambassador's hope crumble with each rejection. He saw in her crystalline eyes the same desperation he'd read about in history files, the desperation of people facing inevitable extinction, abandoned by those with the power to help. He stood abruptly. "Earth will assist." The chamber erupted in surprised chatter. The VRWNN delegate actually laughed. "Humans? Your species barely has a functional space fleet. You possess no gravity manipulation technology, no mass transit capabilities. What could you possibly offer?" Marcus smiled grimly. "Everything we have." 14 cycles wasn't much time, but humans had always specialized in impossible deadlines. Within hours, Earth's entire merchant marine fleet received emergency conscription orders. Every transport ship, every cargo hauler, every passenger liner, all redirected to Sareth Prime. The military contributed troop carriers and supply vessels. Even the colony ships under construction were pressed into service, incomplete and untested. The engineering corps worked miracles, retrofitting every available vessel with makeshift hibernation pods cobbled together from medical equipment and spare parts. They weren't pretty, and they barely met safety standards, but they'd keep the Sarah T alive during transport. Human volunteers flooded recruitment centers. Pilots, engineers, medics, anyone who could help. They came knowing the risks, knowing some ships might not make it, knowing they'd be cramming fragile alien beings into vessels designed for cargo, not passengers. The rescue operation was chaos. A massive, inefficient, barely coordinated armada of mismatched ships descended on Sareth Prime. There were accidents. There were failures. 3 transports suffered engine malfunctions. 2 collided during the evacuation. But humanity's greatest strength had always been its stubborn refusal to accept the unacceptable. They worked around the clock, ferrying millions of Sarah T to temporary refugee stations hastily constructed in stable orbits. Human crew members went without sleep, rationed their own supplies, and gave up their quarters to house the frightened evacuees. When the asteroid finally struck Sareth Prime, reducing it to molten debris, every single Sarah T had been evacuated. Ambassador Quellen stood before the Galactic Council once more, her crystalline form now pulsing with vibrant color, the Sarah T expression of profound gratitude. Behind her, the human fleet hung in formation, battered and exhausted but triumphant. The Council asked what humanity could offer, she said, her voice steady. They offered what the galaxy had forgotten: compassion without calculation, sacrifice without negotiation, and hope without condition. The chamber remained silent, but this time it was a different kind of silence, one heavy with shame. Captain Webb simply nodded. "That's what humans do. We show up.